Okay, so I've been doing a bit of studying here, and I saw there was another video on YouTube, and it was 10 questions every intelligent Christian must answer. And it says someone with a college education, which I do myself have. So I am going to answer these 10 questions. Question number one: why won't God heal amputees? Well, God does heal amputees. Then what do you think prosthetics are? And you might want to say, oh, no, that's man did that, but no. You know what I'm saying? Everything is God-breathed. You know what I mean? God made man and gave him the capability in his mind to even come up with something like that. And plus, also, if they're believers, if they're Christians, when they go to heaven, they'll have new bodies anyway, and they'll be healed there. So whether on heaven or whether on earth or in heaven, they will be healed. Number two, why are there starving people in the world? And the reason they're starving people because, we live in a fallen world. God made our world to be perfect. There was plenty of food and plenty of water, and there was plenty of everything, the way God created it in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. Everything was perfect. There was no sickness, no crying, no pain, no death. And then man chose to sin, and they unleashed the devil. And when they did that, the devil, he never comes alone, you know what I mean? He brings things like death and hurt and pain and starvation and sickness and disease and famine and people being born with all kinds of, mental deficiencies or being born with, like 3 noses or something crazy like that, you know what I mean? It's because we live in a fallen world, and it was meant to be perfect, but the devil, when man sinned, they messed it up. Question number 3, why does God demand the death of so many innocent people in the Bible? Number 1, nobody's innocent. Everybody's sinned. We've all done bad stuff. And, people might think, oh, this is just a little thing, you know what I mean? Okay, she wasn't a virgin before she got married. Back then, things like that were really big. Back then, that's how they took care of things like that were really big. And no one was innocent. None of them. There was no innocence. You know what I mean? And sin. God is holy, and He cannot allow sin, and He must punish sin, and sin must be punished. You know what I mean? And that's part of the reason Jesus had to come down and die for us, to take that punishment upon Himself. Because without that, we would have been just like them in the Old Testament. We would have had to die for our sins. Question number 4, why is the Bible anti-science? Actually, the Bible and science go hand in hand, right along with each other. See, science was meant to expound on the magnificence of God's creation, whereas now it's become something else. Science goes hand in hand with the Bible. It's when science moves out of science and actually moves into theology. I'm sorry, evolution is not science. Science is fact. Science is something that there's proof of. There is no hard physical proof of evolution. And if you have any scientific proof of evolution, then feel free to, feel free to debate with me on it. But until you can find some cold, hard, solid proof that we evolved from monkeys, like some real proof, then, hey, I'm game. I'm willing to hear it. Also, actually, the Bible was a little bit ahead of science. When you put them on a level playing field, the Bible was written, a couple thousand years ago. So let's go back maybe 2,000-3,000 years. Back then, science said that the Earth was flat, but the Bible said that the Earth was round. Science said that there was only 1,100 stars, but the Bible said there are innumerable stars. Science said the Earth sat on a large animal. The Bible said Earth had free floating space. Science just doesn't know, you know what I mean? It said that Earth was weightless. They said that the wind blew straight. They say sick people needed to be bled. They said the ocean floor was flat. They said the ocean said was only fed by rivers in the rain, which the ocean contains springs inside of them. You know what I mean? And if you want to know where that stuff is, that's where the Bible said it all. There. And there's more. There's like a lot more, but I'm gonna move on. Why is there slavery? So much slavery in the Bible was question number 5. Actually, back then, slavery wasn't like, you think, modern day slavery, the black people coming from Africa and how they whipped them and did all kinds of horrible things to them and stuff like that. Actually, people were allowed to, back then in slavery, people were allowed to get married, they're allowed to own property, they actually got paid and made money. They're allowed to leave and go and do stuff and then come back. Slavery was actually called being a servant, and it was actually a way of life back then. It was a way to survive back then. It was kind of like being poor. You worked for a rich family. You know what I mean? It wasn't, and it was just their culture. That's the way they did it. Like if they conquered, I'm pretty sure like sometimes if they conquered a nation, then instead of just killing off all the women and children, they will become slaves. And then sometimes they killed them because God didn't want them to be, corrupted by those other people and their false gods and things like that. But pretty much it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like, what we think like Holocaust, putting a bunch of Jews in the oven and cooking them or nothing like that. It wasn't that horrific. 6, why do bad things happen to good people? You know what? I've actually got this a lot. Like I pray all the time and ask them this. And I feel what I got is bad things happen to good people because bad people exist and bad people have the choice to do bad things. That's why bad stuff happens. God gave us a choice. He doesn't want robots. He wants us to be free to do what we want to do, and He's going to let us. And some people, unfortunately, they choose to do bad. That's not God's fault. Again, we live in a fallen world. It's our fault. Why is there no evidence of miracles? There's a lot of evidence of the miracles. They wouldn't be in the Bible if they never happened. If you think about it, there were thousands and thousands of people in those cities where Jesus did His miracles. Everybody saw this stuff. Like, he didn't go off in private and say, hey, let's make up this and say I did this. No, He did this in front of everybody. Like, He walked on the streets and actually did this. I'm pretty sure this stuff would have never been written down like it is if Jesus never did these things. And the way they're written down in the accounts in the Bible, in the New Testament, I'm pretty sure there would be all type of people writing stuff like, oh, this didn't happen, this didn't happen, this didn't happen. You don't see that. Nobody disputes that. Nobody disputes Jesus' ministry. Nobody disputes. People only dispute that, He's God. That's what people dispute. People dispute things like that. You can, nobody disputes that He was, well, they probably do. I don't. But the proof of His miracles are in the Bible. I mean, they're in the Bible. I didn't explain that one the best, but yeah. Oh wait, actually no. I was reading, and they actually discovered an Egyptian soldier in full armor on a chariot at the bottom of the Red Sea. The sea that God actually split, divided. The Israelites walked by, and then when the Egyptians tried to come through to chase them, they all drowned. Well, they actually, in the bottom of the sea, they actually found Egyptian soldiers and chariots. What in the world is a horse chariot and a full armored Egyptian soldier doing at the bottom of the Red Sea? Now, I'm not sure exactly how many they found, but I'll get back to you. That'll be in my next video. Number 8, why won't Jesus appear? What would be the point of appearing again? He's already done it once and we killed Him. You know what I mean? People say, I'll believe if He'll appear to me, but no, you won't. If you don't want to believe, you're not going to believe. If somebody came up to, was on CNN tomorrow, was like, oh, I'm Jesus, I'm God, follow me, this is what you need to do, and started preaching the exact same things that the Bible is preaching, everybody would just think that he was crazy. People would just think that he's nuts, like they did with Jesus when He came, and they find some reason to throw Him in jail or in a loony bin, lock Him up, or kill Him some type of way. It would happen. Every time someone says something that people don't agree with, they get killed, or assassined. Abraham Lincoln, assassin. Martin Luther King Jr., assassin. Malcolm X, which I really don't like Malcolm X, but killed, for what he said. Jesus Christ killed for what He said.